Welcome back to the channel. Today we're making one of my favorite wines, Blackberry wine. Look at all this wine. We got 15 bottles out of this batch. I'm gonna show you how to make this. Let's just get right into the video, Todd, and make some Blackberry wine. I can't wait to taste this.
Yeah, 'cause to me our love is like an old-fashioned finest whiskey poured out in our glasses.
All right, it's been about 8 days. The bubbler has stopped bubbling. Once this stops and you're not seeing bubbles after about a minute, it's time to test it and see if it's ready to get in our carboy. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get this opened up and test it with our hydrometer. Let's go. Oh, it smells like wine. All right, so we got our lid off. I got a paddle. We do not want to stir this because there's going to be a lot of dead yeast here at the bottom. So all I'm going to do, I just want to move the bag over and get my sanitized hydrometer and see if I can float it in here and see if it goes all the way to the bottom. And just as I thought, my bucket's not deep enough. I need to get it into my cylinder. All right, there we go. Sanitized cup. I'll fill this up, and here's my cylinder. Hopefully you can see this here. I'm gonna fill this up so I can float my hydrometer. Again, everything's sanitized. This will help us float that hydrometer. And I can get you a close up to show you. We're trying to get to a 1.0 specific gravity. That's when you know it's done. Do you see the color of this wine? It is beautiful. All right, let's get this. I got it sanitized. And we're just gonna drop it down. And it should go all the way down to the 1.0 specific gravity. And it looks like it's perfect. I know it's time to get it racked. Now, another thing, when you get to the 1.0 specific gravity, what that means is, at 11.5%, when you get to 1.0 specific gravity, that's what the ABV of this wine will be, 11.5%. Now, let's get the carboy sanitized and all your equipment. Remember, if you're gonna fail in this hobby, it's because you didn't sanitize properly. So that's what we're gonna do, sanitize. All right, you notice I've put a lid on this just to make sure each time because oxygen is our enemy at this point, but we're ready to get it racked, so I gotta open it. I got my sanitized racking cane that I'm gonna put in here, and we'll put the other end down in our freshly sanitized carboy and get this siphon going. I'm hoping those blackberries turned into a lot of juice because I like to get an extra quart if we can. It just helps with topping off our wine when we get to that point. So we'll see. Just keep an eye on your carboy and this as it goes down in because we don't want to overflow that and make a mess. This is going to be a great wine. You got to try Blackberry. It is one of my favorite wines. Why I got into this hobby. Some of you also have asked, this is a good point, do I put Camden tablets in my carboys each time? No. You only use Camden tablets in the very beginning during fermentation and right before bottling. That's it. That's the only time you need Camden tablets. So there we go. You just saw us rack it. I had extra. This is a bonus. Anytime you can get extra when we rack this and filter this out, we're gonna have sediment we're gonna remove, and this will help us fill it up. You'll see when we get to that point, but right now, I'm gonna let this sit in this carboy for 30 to 45 days, check the clarity and see if we wanna rack it again or if we wanna add the bentonite. Always make sure you're doing this. Oh, it smells incredible. I like to put this in a dark place, or if you have a basement, put it down there where it might be a little cooler, or if you can't do that, just cover it up with a towel. That will work just as good, but you don't wanna get direct sunlight on this and you don't want it to get in high temperatures. Look at this Blackberry wine after 30 days of settling. It is a bold wine. Do you see how dark it is? I can't wait no longer to smell this. If I can get the airlock off, this is the Blackberry wine. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It's gonna be fantastic, but we're to the point since it's been settling. I'll show you a close-up down here. But it's time to get it racked and get some bentonite in. this here stuff because that's going to finish refining and get any remaining fine particles out of here. There's a lot of sediment. I could probably rack this one more time before going to the bentonite, but I'm too excited. I've got a lot of travel videos to do on our other channels, so I'm just going to get the bentonite in here and hope for the best. If I got to hit it a second time with the bentonite, that's okay. And do you remember in part one where we had too much? We had an extra quart here. And where this is going to come handy, this is a blessing. You always want this, and you always want to have some of these smaller containers with the lids and the airlock. I got links to this stuff in the description and a new Amazon store. Make sure you're checking out our Amazon store. Make sure you're sanitizing in this hobby. If you're gonna fail, it's because you didn't do it. I actually had somebody ask if I need to do that, and the answer is always yes. All right, it's time to get our bentonite mixed up. You can see according to the directions here, we need about a half a cup of water and 2 teaspoons for this particular brand. So if you're not using this, just follow your directions. So what I'm gonna do is I got my half a cup of warm water that is suggested, and I'm gonna put 2 teaspoons of bentonite in here. And then we're gonna stir this up some. And we're just gonna stir this. I find a fork, a lot of you have given me some great tips and suggestions. I just find the old-fashioned way with a fork just seems to work better for me. Some people say they put it in the microwave. I don't know if that's a good idea, cooking bentonite, but whatever seems to work and is a success for you, stick with it. All right, you can see I got it mixed up here. I don't know, hopefully you can see, where I don't have a lot of big clumps. Don't worry, if you have clumps, since we're stirring this for the next couple of days, that'll get mixed in. So what I'm gonna do now is just pour this at the bottom of our sanitized carboy. This will just help it as we add the wine on top of this, get incorporated a little bit better. And get it all in there as best you can. Oh my God, this is gonna be some of the best wine you might make. I swear to you. Blackberry wine. So I got my sanitized racking cane here. I'm just gonna put the one end down in my carboy with the bentonite in it, and then we're just gonna get the siphon going. And we're gonna stay away from the bottom of this thing because there is a lot of sediment. I'm gonna slowly tilt this because we don't want to get sediment each time we're racking. That's what we're trying to prevent here. And I can see a lot of it down there, so I'm gonna stay away. That's plenty. And then we'll just do this bigger one and put this in there and siphon that on top. This is going to be fantastic. I'll get you a close-up of down the bottom here. I'll show you what I mean here. The color of this. Now, as this wine goes down, I'm gonna slowly tilt this to remove that sediment at the bottom. So that's what we wanna do. I'm just slowly moving this down. It's very hard to see when you're making a dark wine. If it's bold and extra fruity, it can be hard to see your racking cane in there, which I'm having a problem with. So I'll just keep working it down a little bit at a time and slowly start to tilt this and making sure you're keeping an eye on your carboy too, because remember I had extra here I was putting in, so I don't want to overfill that. This is actually going to be a perfect amount. I can see it right now. It's coming up nice. I'm going to have to stop it. Right there. But we got as much as we can to fill a 3-gallon carboy for sure. Now, also, if you want to take the time, you could put the rest of this through a coffee filter or try and just pour it off the top. But this is truly wine at this point. It's obviously going to get better with age, but you can drink it now. So I just poured off of this carboy some of that wine and kind of skimmed it. But this is what I mean. I'm just going to run it through a coffee filter. And you'll see, you'll be able to taste this and drink it. Now, the only thing that's left is to stir this bentonite in this bentonite stage. Now, you notice, if you're new to this channel, you probably didn't see me where I broke one of these doing it at this point. So you can see I keep it near a sink. But all we want to do is you want to try and scrape some of that bentonite off of the bottom and stir this for the next 3 to 4 days. That's all we want to do. Get these particles charged up. That's what that bentonite is going to do, charge these particles. And then we're going to let it sit for 30 to 40 days, up to 45 days. That really does, you can do it as long as you want. It can sit in here for a little bit, no problems. But after that, we'll take a look at it and see how clear it is and see if we need to maybe hit it one more time with a bentonite. Oh, remember that? That little taste I had? There it is. It's gonna be very dry at this point because we didn't back sweeten it, but it's good. Just if you like dry wine, this one's gonna be perfect. We'll get to back sweeten it a little bit later. Let's fast forward 45 days and see what this looks like. All right, it's my favorite part of the wine process. Of course it should be for yours because you just worked hard on this. The Blackberry wine is ready to be bottled. I've had it sitting in this bentonite, believe it or not, for 3 months. Tip, if you have the bentonite in here, you can leave it in here as long as you want. I've had people let this settle out for 2 years, but I forgot about it. I found it in the closet. I said, I gotta finish that. So that's what we're doing today. As long as you have a tight seal, which I do, and it's gonna be just like it was in the bottle, so you can age it in the carboy, no problem. Just a few key ingredients we're gonna need to bottle this. Camden tablets or sodium metabisulfite, stabilizer, sugar for back sweetening, and make sure you're sanitizing. And remember, everything you see on this channel, I got it in our Amazon store. It's a one-stop shop. From the wine corks all the way up to the wine bottle dryer. One of my favorite things on this channel, and you gotta have a professional corker. Now, we're gonna back sweeten this wine, so I need sugar. Even if you're just gonna make a dry wine, I strongly suggest you put a little bit of sugar. It's just gonna bring out the fruit flavor. I want 1 cup per gallon. I may not use all this. I probably won't, but that's what we're gonna start with. So there's our 3 cups of sugar. We're gonna put that in a pan here or a pot, and we're gonna add 3 cups of water. And we're gonna turn the heat on, and we're making a simple syrup to back sweeten this wine. And we'll just stir this until it becomes crystal clear and you're not scraping any more sugar. So there you can see it's starting to bubble on the bottom. That's where you want to stop. Turn off the heat, and we're going to let this cool to room temperature. We're done. All right, while that's cooling, we're going to get our additives in our bucket here. Sanitize all your equipment. I'm going to put it in here because it's going to make it easier to back sweeten it, as you'll see. And dump the excess out like that. And now let's start. The first thing we're gonna put in here is sodium metabisulfite. This is gonna help with bacteria control when we get the wine in our bottles. This is a necessity. It's the same thing as Camden tablets. Now, if you're using this, which goes a long way, for this 3-gallon batch, we're only gonna need 1/8 of a teaspoon. There's our 1/8 of a teaspoon. It's very little. Sprinkle that on the bottom. If you're using Camden tablets, you only need 1 per gallon. It's just easier to measure out if you're using Camden tablets. All right, the next ingredient is potassium sorbate. This is a must if you're back sweetening it or if you're not sure all your sugar in your wine has been converted to alcohol. We need a 1/2 teaspoon of this per gallon. 3-gallon batch, 3 of these. That's it. That's the only additives we need. Now, for each gallon of wine, you're going to need 4 to 5 bottles. It depends on how much sweetener you add to your wine is how many you're going to need. So I'm doing worst case. I'm doing 15 bottles for this 3-gallon batch. And also, one thing you will notice, you will see all kinds of bottles. I get people to save these. Don't buy bottles unless you need some to get started. All right, we're almost there. We got our carboy here. We got our sanitized bucket that we're gonna rack this into, but man, I can't wait to smell it. It smells just like blackberries. All right, let's get this off here. I got my sanitized racking cane, you can see here, and what we're gonna do is put this down in our bucket. If you're not new here, you've seen me do this many times. But we're gonna put this down in here and we're gonna get a siphon going. And there we go, I'll get you close up, but it's going down in there. Now, one thing you wanna make sure, you're not getting this racking cane close to that bentonite. We don't want any of that in our finished product. Now, I will tell you, this is gonna be a very bold blackberry wine. I can't even see the sediment at the bottom, so I'm gonna have to guess kind of where it is before I tilt this. All right, I'm gonna start to slowly tilt this. If you start seeing sediment slide, stop. Waste is okay in this part of the game. That's it. All right, you can see here, I stopped as much as I could get out of this as possible. I could have maybe got a little bit more, but you don't want any bentonite in your wine. So waste a little, okay. Now let the fun begin. Now's when we get to taste this and see where we're at. I got my sanitized paddle. Remember we got the additives in there? We want to stir them in ever so gently at this point. So that's what we're gonna do, stir the additives. Just a little bit to get everything incorporated. I can't wait for Laura to try this one. I hope I got a little extra tonight for dinner. Now, remember we got this sugar water. This is what we're gonna add to back sweeten it. Highly recommend you back sweeten and not try and figure the sugar out up front. This is so much easier, and when you taste this, that's exactly what your wine's gonna taste like. So I know we like it about a semi-sweet. I'll probably maybe use about half, if not all. So there we go. I'm gonna start with about half of this. There we go. Now what I wanna do is stir this in before I taste it. We wanna get it all incorporated to make sure it's consistent. If you're not new to this channel, you see me do this. But if you're new, this is what we do. We take a sanitized straw and we taste it. We put a little bit in a shot glass, about 2 of these, and then I'm gonna try it and see if it's where I want. Oh my God. That is gonna be a fantastic one. I can tell you. If you have some friends that might like it a little drier, you could bottle some now, make some semi-sweet, a couple of those, 5 of each, will take you to 15 bottles. I'm gonna add more though. I'll add about half of that yet and try that. That's perfect. I'm done. I'm stopping. Let's bottle this stuff. All right, keep your wine covered as much as you can because oxygen is a detriment, but you still have time to do this. So I just had it laying on there. We're using the same racking cane, and this is what you need. You need a bottling tip. This is what we're gonna fill our bottles with. And this comes in so much handier than trying to use funnels and that. Now the favorite part, the wine corker, the world famous Portuguese wine corker. I love this thing. I wouldn't be in this hobby, I don't think, if I didn't have one of these. There we go. I hope you liked this video. We got exactly 15 bottles, so I'm happy. And then we got a little bit for tonight. Bottle 16. I can't wait to try with dinner because we're having Italian and it will go great. And do you see the color of this? It is a deep, dark purple. Exactly what I would expect a blackberry wine to look like. And now we need to sanitize our bottles and lay them flat because you want to lay them flat for 7 days. So after that, then we'll get it in our wine rack. So again, hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great day.
Yeah, 'cause to me our love is like